Section, section 12.5, common log and natural log. I briefly talked about natural log on the previous sections, but here I want to repeat that one more time. So log of x, when you have log x and you don't see any base, means base is 10. If the base is 10, we don't have to note that. And the calculator is based on this. So when we ask you to calculate log of 5,312, all you need to do is just type that on your calculator and the calculator will find it for you. But if it's not, if it's a different numbers, if the base is different, then you have to do this type of calculation. It means there is a formula that I introduced that if the base is a different number, then you change that to log of m over log of b with the base. So in that case, if I have, let's say I want to calculate log of 5 with base of 7. So then what you do is you write it as log of 5 over log of 7, and then you use your calculator and estimate each of this and then divide. But if you just say find log of like 8 and you don't see any number, it means the base is 10. You could just go ahead and type that on your calculator and find the value. And then natural log. If you have log and the base is e, which is 2.71, then instead of log of e, we just use the natural log, ln. ln is a log of x with the base of e. And here there are some examples, like how do I calculate log of 8 with base of 5? You write it as log of 8 over log of 5, both are base is 10. Then you put these two numbers, you use the calculator and divide. Same thing, how do I find log of 31 with base of 4? You just write it as log of 31 over log of 4. And then but since the base is e, log of 31 with base of e, in fact, is natural log of 31. Again, the natural log means log with the base of e. So the calculator has also ln. So you calculate ln over ln 4. And that's how to graph ex and e to power of minus x. You just plug in some numbers. Like you have two functions, e to power of x, e to power of minus x. For x equals 0, the power of x is 0, e to power of 0, any number to power of 0 is always 1. And then when you put 1, then you could go ahead and plug these numbers and graph it. Calculator has this function of e here. Depends what kind of calculator you're using. But most calculators, they do have that. You see that e to power of x here? So you just do second e to the x. Let's say I want to find e2. So you just put 2 here, and the calculator will tell you 7.38, and so on. See, for x equal 2 is almost 7.4, and so on. Let's say I want to put minus 2, this one for x. Then you could just go here, second e to the x, and then this bottom is here, minus 2 e to power of minus 2, enter. 0.135 or 0.1. And this is the different notes about the different graph, e to power of minus 3 plus. It just plugs, always plug 0, 1, 2, negative 1, negative 5 numbers. Most of the time is enough to graph the functions. We also have domain and range. Like if I give you a function like this and say, what's the domain and range? See, let's say there is a function like that. It goes to the value of any point on this function. It has the x value. Let's say x is 10 and y is +2. Or take another point is, let's say x is 14, y is +5. Or take a point here, x is like 4 and y is -2. So you notice the y value, it doesn't go beyond -3. This point is y equal -3. Range is the y value. So the y value starts from -3, goes all the way to +infinity. It doesn't go below. So when we say what's the range, range is y greater than -3, or the range is all the numbers greater than -3. Domain is the x value, how far this goes. See, x is 20, x is 400, and here is x is -30, x is -4. So x, or domain, goes from domain, which is the x value. It goes all the way from -infinity to +infinity. That's the domain. That's the domain range. So domain is always x value and range is the y value. Like in this one, see, goes all the way this way, and this goes this way for the domain and range. Now, for the homework, log of 77. All I need to do is just type that on my calculator, log of 77. The calculator will give it to me. So here you just say log, which is this one, log of 77, 1.886. See, that's how you calculate for that one, which is 1.8865. They ask us to calculate this 10 to the power of that, 10 to the power of this number. So for that, you could go ahead and on your calculator, there's a functions here, just again the power. So you just say 10 power of, this is the power, and it's -2.9534. I put this one to put a minus 2.9534. And that gives you this 0.00111. Okay. Now, when is log of 6, log of 20 with base of 6? Remember, if the base is not 10, then you have to use this formula. Write it as log of A over log of B. So first, I write this as log of 20 over log of 6. Okay, and then the final answer should be to 4 decimal places. So here you just say log of 20, parenthesis close, divided by log of 6. See, log of 20 divided by log of 6. And that would give you that number. And you see, after 9 is 5, so I have to add 1 to the 9, which would make it 0. And so it would be 1.6720. Ask for 4 decimal places. Same thing for these problems. How to graph e to the x? E to the x, the graph. You could just take some numbers and plug in. Which I did here. I put just some numbers. Or you already have the graph already with that one. They all are very similar. How to graph e to the power of x minus 8. which one of this graph is correct. Graph all this. So I have the questions here and the answers. See again, the graph EX minus 8. I'll just come up with some numbers here. 0, 1, you could have -1. You could have -2, you could have 2. You could just come up with some numbers and the graph is like that. Domain, this goes all the way to infinity. And here from -infinity. But the range, which is the y value, see the function does not go here below this. So y is -8. Since the function starts from y equal -8, goes up like -7, -6, -5, 0, 1, 2, 3. Range goes from -8 to positive infinity. This is positive infinity. This is how to graph this one. I think we have one on the note similar to this one. So just plug in the numbers and so on. So I have the correct graph at the end. So you could check your answers. Again, it's all this graph here. Again, it's all plug in some numbers.